sausage and mash and gravy, Yorkshire pudding and roast potatoes. Eat your veggies by the bunch, listening to Mez's Sunday lunch.
And we're back after an extended break. We're back for Mez's Sunday lunch with me, Jake, and of course, Mez. Mez, how are you?
I'm good, man. Good to be back in the hot seat, as it were. It's been I don't know, when was the last one? Was it in the summer?
I think so. Right? I mean, we had that month off because you were gallivanting around the country, touring the world, or Chester and Ramsgate. How was that?
We did a 2-week tour, which felt great. It was we did all the little sort of like off the beaten track places. So like you say, Chester instead of Liverpool, Northampton instead of Oxford, I guess Ramsgate instead of London, Newport instead of Cardiff, Sunderland instead of Newcastle.
How was it?
Yeah, it was amazing to be back on the road for 2 weeks. Yeah, it was great. It was great to be back playing new material, testing a lot of stuff out. Back as a band fully, even like it's the little stuff that you forget really, which it almost back in the day, it was an annoyance, but now it's like you wake up in a hotel, you don't know who you're sharing it with. Am I sharing it with my brother? Am I sharing it with Lids? Am I sharing it with Stu? And then it's like, what should we have for breakfast? Well, I don't know. We're held up in a service station, Days Inn, glorious, beautiful Days Inn, or whichever other ones are available in stations. But yeah, it was great to be back, man. It was lovely to play in front of people, and we had, that it meant a lot to us because there was people that were coming to all of the shows as well, just doing sort of like coming to see us at various different locations off the beaten track, which was nice, and it gets us ready for the proper tour in winter, really. Well, I shouldn't say proper tour because it meant the same, but yeah, the bigger one, I guess.
Have you ever played any of those places before?
Most of them were our debuts, actually, So I'd never been to Ramsgate, and I've got to give Ramsgate Music Hall a shout out because it is probably one of the best venues I've been in. It was like it was a treated room. It was like a wooden cabin. The hospitality was great. It reminded me a lot of the Trades Club in Hebden Bridge.
Famous Hebden Bridge. Great. You love Hebden Bridge, don't you?
I do love Hebden Bridge, yeah. And Newport again. The venue at Newport, Liverpool. That was a beautiful little spot, and Bath. We played Moles in Bath, and again we were looked after, and a lot of people. That was a sold out one, and it was only a tiny little room, and there was a lot of people who'd come over from Bristol, and it was good to see friends again. It was a great little run, and good to be back. Yeah, man.
Yeah, sounds good. I've basically just been sitting here waiting for you to return, staring at the walls, nothing to do on my Sundays. But enough about me.
You've been busy. I know you've been busy. You do every single festival in summer.
Yeah, which I'm still sort of recovering from. But anyway, the theme this month is, of course, Halloween. But before we get into that, do you want to play us a track, Mez?
Well, as Halloween is a very sexy event, I thought I'd play the new one by Wet Leg, Wet Dream.
What a song. What a band.
Oh, mate, yeah. Knocking it out of the park.
100%. Halloween. Sorry.
Yeah.
You were busy talking about real things, and I was going to ask you about Halloween.
I was talking about real stuff, and now we have to talk about candy. But yeah, let's do it. Halloween. This is the second Halloween song.
This is the second one, but I think last time we basically focused on Halloween itself. So we're going a bit broader, a bit spookier this time. What is the best scary movie, Mez?
Oh, Now, like, it's so hard. I think as a kid, I would probably say Jaws. It used to get me. I'm terrified
That's not
of like.
even a horror movie.
Is it not? Why is that not a horror movie?
So. I think it's like a thriller, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's horrifying, isn't it? Like,
I suppose.
Like swimming in the sea and there's great whites, man. Oh, mate, we should have got a bigger boat. Do you know what I mean? That's some scary ass stuff. That. Like, other than that, what's a scary film? Like an actual scary film.
See, this is hard, isn't it? Because it's like, what is the best scary film, right? It's kind of like, well, which one's the scariest? But is that separate to which one's actually like good? Because some horror films are like absolute trash, aren't they? But they can still be like the best horror movie.
Yeah. Well, I find like horror movies, it's such a vast genre anyway. But like the majority of horror movies that are super gory and super scary, or supposedly super scary, I kind of find them they're a bit hammy. They're a bit almost comedic, you know? Whereas I guess some of the like really haunting ones, I guess when I was growing up as a little one, well, not a little one, but I can remember Sixth Sense coming out. And although it's not super scary, like the twist at the end, Bruce Willis, he wasn't in a vest covered in blood. He was actually dead. You know what I mean? Like Sixth Sense was not out in the park for me.
Do you think Bruce Willis in Sixth Sense like noticed that he didn't have to have a haircut at any point? Because that would be a real giveaway for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, him in that was just like, well, when's the vest coming out, and when's a gun? And he has to kill a load of ghosts, but he was already dead. He didn't need to. He was chilling out, wasn't he?
It's true. Imagine that. How embarrassing would that be, right? If you didn't know you were dead and you just carried on doing your day job. It's like, mate, you can relax. You're done.
Yeah. Well, he did, didn't he? I mean, that film blew my mind when it came out. And then, what's the director called? M. Night Shyamalan. I can never pronounce his name. But his films steadily get worse. Or there was a period where they were absolutely shit.
Yeah, I think basically he was like, I have to do a twist in every one. But then if you're expecting a twist, then it's not as fun that there's a twist. Like, Sixth Sense, I think, has been ruined because everyone knows the twist, right? Yeah. So, like,
I didn't. Like, the first time I watched it, I didn't know it. I did not know it.
See, I did. Like, and it's like you know, everyone knows that spoiler alert, Darth Vader is Luke's father. So I wonder what that felt like to watch in the cinema, because you already know that going in, don't you? Really?
Yeah.
So
that's the disappointing thing about twists. Are they can be amazing, but most of the time they're ruined.
Yeah, it's very hard to get an unruined twist, isn't it? What's the worst horror film? What's the film that you've seen, like a horror film that you've seen, and you've just been like, that was an absolute waste of my life?
I mean, any of those sort of like teen ones that are... what is that one? What's it... Oh, I can remember one. And it was massive when I was at sixth form, I think. What's it called? It's called Jeepers Creepers, and it's about like a scarecrow. Suddenly this scarecrow's alive and he's eating bodies and stuff. And it's like it starts off real, like, it's kind of like eerie. And then suddenly there's a flying scarecrow and you're like, what is going on? Anything like that, you're just like, wow, this has just gone off the charts. But then sometimes I take enjoyment out of that. It's like, I want something.
If it leans into it, if it's aware that it's silly, it's fine, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, some are worse than others.
Yeah, I mean, this obviously, I think you've got to go back to the classics, haven't you, in terms of horror films? You know, like Nightmare on Elm Street and sort of like Friday the 13th, the original, or Halloween, the original. That sort of era, or The Exorcist. Those kind of films were like, they were actually films where people put thought into them, and then.
Yeah, they're not just like, got to get a horror movie out, you know?
Yeah. I think the problem with this genre is everyone just repeats the same formula, do you know?
Yeah, 100%. If you're listening, horror movie directors, you know, switch it up.
Or they just became not horror, and they became, what was the term? It was like, what was it? Torture porn or something like that. So
like Saw, right?
first Saw came out, and I thought that was quite interesting film, and there was a twist, and then suddenly you had this whole Jigsaw franchise where it was just like absolutely fucked, and then everyone tried to like get one up on the gore, and then you end up with something like the Human Centipede, where like people are eating, well, who knows what they're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Right, I do. Let's get another song in there before we start talking about what the Human Centipede's eating, and then we'll come back with some more cleaner questions, I feel.
Okay, mate. So this is, again, it's another new one. This is the Beachland Ballroom by Idols.
I'm not praying, baby. I'm not begging, darling. Soon as the rush went away, I did not look for a way. Damage, damage, damage. If you see me down on my knees, please do not think that I pray.
Another banger. See, we've been away for a bit. All the good songs have been coming out, haven't they?
Oh, mate, yeah, no, like, when we was in, well, they actually played in Hull. They did an in-store, supposed to be an in-store from when Mono came out, Ultra Mono. And they actually played at Adelphi for that, and it was only about a month or so ago, just before we went on tour, and we caught up with them all. And it was great to see them, and they were saying that they've got this new piece of work coming out, and then we saw Dev came across to Bath and saw us playing there, and he was just like, "Yeah, we've got a new one coming out." And it's so cool. I just love the Motown vibes to it, but you know, Joe's vocal on it is a different league on this one.
Yeah, it's something a bit different, isn't it? And I've always thought like Idols are definitely one of those bands that like it just all clicks together live. Like I saw them at Wide Awake Festival, and it just reminds you what an incredible live band they are. So I do think out of all the bands, obviously it was hard for everyone not being able to play live, but for them especially, it just feels like that is kind of what they're for, you know? So really good to be seeing new stuff coming out and then being able to play it, you know?
Yeah, I think they translate to me the best on stage. You know, and I don't think they'd mind me saying that. I think they are a live band, and and what they do on that stage is phenomenal. So yeah, no, but it's a great song. It's a great song.
100%. And now for a big question: if you woke up one morning and a witch had turned you into a giant cockroach, what would you do? Do you want to just describe your day to me?
What if I was a giant cockroach?
Yeah, just for the day.
Well, I'd test my ability to withstand fire.
Straight in there with that, eh?
Well, I heard that cockroaches can survive nuclear blasts. So basically what I would do is, I mean, if I woke up and I was a cockroach, it was like, well, fuck it, I'll burn my house down. Well, I don't own a house. So I'll have to text the landlord and say, do you mind if I burn the flat down? I'm a cockroach. I want to see if I can. Him?
You won't have any fingers. You'll have weird little legs.
I'll use my antennae or whatever they've got.
Oh, yeah.
Have they got them?
Yeah, maybe.
Do they have them? Maybe, let's say they do. Well, I'd do that. I'd test my shell. Is it hard? Like, can it withstand a nuclear blast, or is it weaker than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shell? Like, that's what I'd have to test.
So you'd go sort of scientific with it.
You may as well. I mean,
yeah, true,
that's your only chance. It's your only chance to live as a cockroach, so you may as well check. If it's like if you were a bird, you're going to check that you're going to fly. Well, if I'm a cockroach, I'm going to check that I fire.
I just don't know if a cockroach's equivalent is surviving fire, but then I don't know what it would be. Apparently they can survive without a head, right, for like a week.
Yeah.
So
well,
maybe
I can try that.
Yeah, go on, give it a go. Let me know.
After the fire, then I'll chop my head off and see what goes down.
Yeah, I think this is, so is that's the day is just science experiments on yourself.
Science experiments, pure Bunsen burner technique. Let's go. That's what I'd do if I was a cockroach.
Fair enough. I can't really argue with that. You got another track for us?
Yes, mate. So this is I Love You, I Hate You by Little Simz.
Some people you inspire and others you trigger. Fighting in blind faith led by the internal voice. You might not want to do it, but you don't have a choice. Will the pressure take me to new heights or be my demise? Will my intentions coincide with what I advise? The people looking up to me doing everything right, but who am I to tell anyone how to live their life? Your pain threshold will determine if you survive. I'm amazed by it, lying to myself, pretending I was never faced by it. Maybe cause you're in my DNA, that's why. Sometimes.
Love that track.
Always.
Love that. Just love Lil Simz in general. I don't think she's ever released a bad track.
No, man, that song is great, and I love how it starts because every time I'm still grafting Anna in between. I'm still grafting. So every time it comes on, I'm expecting, that intro to it before it kicks in. It almost feels like it's going to be I almost feel like it's a Rat Pack song or something from like.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I get the feeling, the
when
vibe.
it comes on and you're like, ooh, it's a bit. I don't want to say Bing Crosby because that's dumbing it down, but and then it suddenly kicks in with that little earworm noise, and then the "I love you, I hate you," and then she comes in and nails it, man. And it's just like, yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, incredible stuff. Would you rather be a werewolf, a vampire, or a pumpkin king? These are questions from the rest of the Dork writers, so I take no responsibility for them. Would you rather be a werewolf, a vampire, or a pumpkin king?
Well, I mean, I've never heard of a pumpkin king.
Me neither.
I mean, who put that one in there? Because I've never heard of that. It's like just like, oh, do you know what? Werewolf, vampire. Oh, do you know what? A pumpkin king.
King of the Pumpkins, mate.
King of the Pumpkins?
Oh, wait, isn't what's his name in Nightmare Before Christmas? Isn't he the Pumpkin King? Is that what he's called?
Well,
Jack Skellington?
He's got like a pumpkin-y kind of head, hasn't he?
Well, let's say it's him.
He's cool, though, isn't he? He's cool. He can sing, man. He can sing.
That's true.
And he just, and he falls in love with Christmas and everything. Vampire, werewolf, or Pumpkin King / Nightmare Before Christmas. Well, what's the best one? What is the best one?
I think what you're dealing with here, right? I think overall, ability and stuff, vampire, right? But then you can't go out in the day. That's a big drawback, right?
Yeah.
Werewolf, you live a normal life most of the time, but then once a month you're out killing stuff. You're probably going to get shot and killed, right? Pumpkin King, you look like a freak. So it's really hard, I think.
I mean, Pumpkin King's just come down to bottom place then.
Because I don't know if you get any powers. You just have a pump. Surely your head would be all weird and soggy as well.
Yeah. Oh, and there's another thing. What's the guy from Sleepy Hollow called? He's got a pumpkin head and he throws it at Johnny Depp.
Horseman.
Yeah, his head's a pumpkin in it.
Well, I think he's just not got a head, and then he wears that head to make it look like he has a head, maybe.
Yeah, so that's bottom of the pile then. And now I've got to think about it. So a vampire, normally your traditional vampire films, if we're looking at films to go off, because that's probably the only evidence that we've got of them. They dress quite well, don't they? I'm thinking of Dracula.
Vampire, sharply dressed, good hair normally. Got some good superpowers. They can fly around, turn into bats, live forever, super strong. But the main downside, you can never go out in the day. And also, you can't come into people's houses unless you're invited. So that's fine. That doesn't happen anyway. So, you basically can't go out in the day, can you? And you got to drink blood to survive.
I mean, that is the downside, drinking blood, but maybe you
don't even eat meat. That's a hell of a change for you.
Yes, but I'm thinking the living forever, that sounds quite good. Yeah. Think of the parts. If you live forever and you're entertaining at your house or wherever that you live, maybe Whitby Abbey or something, that's a cool sort of thing, and you could wear a smartly dressed suit. I mean, it's got sort of vibes. And then a werewolf, I guess you go on, like you say, by you live normally until there's a full moon, and then bam, you're buff and you're hairy.
I think the thing with a werewolf is you couldn't really do it in this country because you need some space to run around in where you're not going to come across any people. So if you're in Yellowstone National Park, that'd be fine. But where in England can you go that you're not going to stumble across some, vicar and eat him by mistake and wake up with vicar in your teeth the next day?
Yeah, I'm going to go vampire.
I think that's the right choice. I think we've worked this out together.
I'm confident with my choice of vampire.
Okay, great. And as a vampire, would you be like the classic Dracula, or would you be like Mez as a vampire?
I mean,
Like, would you just be you, and everyone would be like, "Oh, Mez has been floating around a lot more, and I haven't seen him in the daytime," or would you be classic, like live in a castle, no one knows you as anything other than the weird vampire man?
I'd be the latter. Just if I'm gonna go for it. You may as well. So yeah, I'd be Christopher Lee or something like that as a vampire.
Yeah,
just
I think
living
he's
in
the classic, isn't he?
Yeah, smartly dressed, living forever, drinking the blood, hosting parties, drinking wine as well as blood. Yeah, that's me.
Fair enough. Would you rather have... I honestly do not understand how this is Halloween themed, but again, not my question. Would you rather have no bones or be only made of bone? I'm actually going to read this full question out, right? This is from Jamie. This is from Jamie, who co-hosts the main Down with Boring show, and he has written: would Mez rather have no bones and be a floppy fella, or be only made of bones and no skin at all?
Oh, I mean, that's probably goes out there with one of the best questions I've ever heard. So basically, would I want to be a jellyfish?
Yeah.
Just blobbing around like the human blob?
Yeah.
Or would I want to be made out of bone?
Mm.
Well, I think I'd want to be made out of bone.
I think I'd rather be the flubber.
Oh, no, because Flubber, that film was bad.
Yeah, but being made of bone, like, surely you wouldn't be able to move.
Well, you'd be a skeleton, wouldn't you? So you'd still have joints.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. It feels, for some reason, in my mind, that would be less comfortable than being the flubber. I don't know how that works.
I guess for comfy purposes, being a bit more louche and sluggish, you could get away with being flubbery. But what if you were trying to date someone, like a flubber and a flubber, whereas two strong bones? That might be.
This is a family show, Mez. I don't want to hear about your strong bones, okay?
Yeah, well, I know, yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, I think I'd be made out of bones, but like numerous of them, so I was still a skeleton.
Not just like one big lump of bone.
Not just one big tusk. I'm thinking loads of little tusks made together to almost resemble my body, but in bone form.
Very illuminating. Thank you for that picture. Shall we ponder it with another song?
Yes, let's play. Again, this is another new one, actually. Walking at Downtown Pace by Parquet Courts.
They shining through purple film, combining sound from the corners that you use yourself to tune. Like a piano, well-tuned and walking slowly, socks on the carpet while some kid watches my shoes. Feeling the sound like a bolt of...
Very new, very fresh this month.
Fresh as it comes. That's what I said to myself when
I said that you're going to end with some like 300-year-old song, aren't you? No,
actually, you know what? The next two are even newer.
Oh,
it's just
man.
how I roll. It's just how I roll.
All new all the time.
Exactly.
Mez's fresh tunes. Do you think ghosts have to wear the outfit they die in forever? And if so, do you think if you got ill, you'd request people put on your best clothes while you're in the bed?
Well, this is a good question. So, do ghosts only live in the clothes they're buried in? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I think they do.
So that's interesting, actually. Do you think they live in the clothes they were buried in, or the clothes they died in?
I think the clothes that they were buried or incinerated in, because that is the lasting fibres on their body.
Oh, yeah. So you think that's how ghosts work? Sort of a fibrous ghost.
Or you could maybe with ghost powers just get your best clothing item. If you're a ghost, you could go and find it in your house.
Yeah, but ghosts always wear one outfit, don't they? People are always like, oh, there's a guy here, he's a monk with no head, and he always rearranges the dishes or something, you know? It's never like he's a monk, but sometimes he wears tracksuits when he can't be bothered.
Yeah. Well, I think that's another element of it then, because ghosts, when you read about them in horror stories or when you see them in horror films, they're often playing the role that they were, weren't they? So, like you said, there's a monk. Well, he was a monk in real life, so he's wearing a monk costume. Or, there's a night guard wearing a policeman uniform. He died 50 years ago, but he's still wearing the same police uniform. Or, there's a signalman on the rail track. He unfortunately died because a cow got on the track and he died. He's wearing the signalman's stuff. Or a butcher slipped on his knife, but he's wearing his butcher's gown. You know,
yeah, I think we get the idea, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just trying to paint a picture there.
Yeah, you did.
So I would probably say, I think it's in the event of sadly death, yeah. Unless, like me, if I died, I'd request a few suits being chucked in my coffin, and then I got, a few different outfits.
So, like, I was going to say, do you think, like, I mean, we're assuming ghosts are, like, sentient here, right? Like, they're not just, like, memories or imprints. They're just, like, sentient beings, right?
Well, when I met one, it was.
Okay. The Moomin. Was this the Moomin that went up the stairs?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And that was obviously just a dead Moomin.
Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah. So what we're saying is they can change clothes, but only if those clothes are in their coffin.
Yeah, or something like that. Or it's just something that they're remembered by. The signalman was remembered by his signalman uniform. The policeman who died sadly on duty was remembered by his policeman uniform.
See, I think that's sad, because when I die, I don't want people to remember my job. I want them to remember me, But then, if they do, will I accidentally come back as a naked ghost? Because I don't want that.
These are the problems. These are the issues. Maybe it's something that when you go towards the light, you sign a deal. Well, excuse me, what do you want in your outfit?
There's like a form to fill out.
The form to fill. You get there and it's like, sadly, you're dead, mate. But like, what outfit do you want? You can choose from your back catalogue, but it can only be one.
You've got to have owned it. You can't choose something new, right? You've got to pick something you wore at some point.
It's got to be memorable to you. So you're like, well, which one is it going to be?
Which one would yours be?
Mine would have to just be a black suit with like a nice little T-shirt underneath it.
It's weird, isn't it? Because you kind of do have to go a bit formal, don't you? Like, I don't think I'd take a ghost seriously if they were just in like cargo shorts and flip-flops.
Yeah, I know. If you could see what I'm wearing now, mate, after I'm just wearing joggers and a vest. I don't want to be the ghost in joggers and a vest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You never hear about that, because I think like people would almost be too embarrassed. They'd be like, I saw a ghost. They'd be like, oh my God, what did it look like? And you would just say like, it's not important what it looked like, because you're just imagining like this pasty bloke in a vest, and it's like, that's not scary, is it?
No. Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. Right. Another song for us, Mez?
Ooh, this is actually a brand new song, and they are almost local. They're from Driffield. I actually think Dork wrote about them today, but we know them quite well, and Stu's actually involved in management with them, and a couple of my friends helped record their stuff. This is...
Whoa. So this is what? This is nepotism right here. They're getting airplay on the most popular show on the planet just because of all this.
Well, maybe, yeah, but this... exactly. You've got to help.
Yes, that is what's occurring, yeah.
This is what happens. I've never done it before, but I'm going to do it for this song because they supported us in July as well, and I thought they're just a really nice band. But this is Bedtime Story by Priestgate.
See the light, it's colder inside.
It's a good song. I'll allow it.
Cheers, man.
I'll let it happen. But, watch yourself. Don't get too comfortable, Mez. I could replace you with another band member. I'll get Stu
Well,
on.
I was going to... First time I was offered this over a year ago, I was just going to play live songs every episode, and I don't think I've played one. I haven't.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's going to sound too great. Just use what would it like? You acoustic guitar, sort of Bob Dylan harmonica sort of stuff.
I just literally go on Spotify and play whatever songs we've got on there.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think we can all be grateful that didn't occur.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a big one, so I've left it towards the end because I feel like, we needed to warm up for it. But do you think that non-humans can become ghosts? Like animals? Don't know why I said non-humans. I just mean animals.
Animals. I think that's more regular.
Right. Okay. So
because you often hear about animals coming back to life, don't you? In terms of their ghost format.
Do you? What?
I think you do.
Often.
I think you do. Well, I was only chatting to someone the other day, actually, my uncle, and his dog sadly died, and he was an otter hound.
Okay.
He was an otter hound, and when he died, they went for a walk along the river where they live, and an otter just popped up.
Right.
So he's come back, hasn't he? He's come back as an otter.
But surely the one thing that dog hated the most was otters. It was trained to kill otters, bred to kill otters.
But sometimes the universe works in mysterious ways. That's what Halloween teaches. It really does. I think animals coming back to life in terms of ghost format is probably quite a thing.
Okay, secondary question to that, right?
The cat flap goes, the cat was dead miles ago, years ago. The cat flap goes, it's not wind, mate, it's the cat. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, right. So bearing that in mind, right, if you think about how many human ghosts there are, right, and we've been around for like 0.001% of like life on Earth, right? Why don't you ever see any ghostly dinosaurs? Where are the ghost dinosaurs at?
I was just about to say dinosaurs, but then it's like, but I tell you where they are. They're in the museums.
But they're not ghosts.
Yeah, this is true, but that's where they feel the most safe. It's a safe space for them. Dinosaurs know that if a ghost dinosaur came out, there would be an outrage and people would start ghost hunting. And we don't really do ghost hunting. But if dinosaurs were ghosts, people would start ghost hunting because it would be like, I don't know, going on safari and shooting a lion, which is totally wrong.
So they hide.
Exactly. So they hide in the museums, in the fabric of the walls of the museum,
Of course, that makes so much sense. This is why it's so good to talk to you, Mez, to work this stuff out.
I am an expert on many things, many things,
and this is one of them. A final question for you: you're familiar with Frankenstein's monster, right?
Dr. Jekyll.
No, that's a different thing. The monster,
okay,
Frankenstein's monster, right? He's stitched together from body parts. He's got the bolts in his neck. You classic, right? So if you had to create a Frankenstein's monster to create the perfect band member for your band from bits of any other musician that's ever lived, who would you pick and for what body part?
This is hard, isn't it? He's thrown in the old Powerball at the end, hasn't he? The old bouncy ball. I'd probably have to go with the liver of Mark E. Smith. He had a good innings.
Yeah.
The moves of Jarvis Cocker.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to write lyrics, Leonard Cohen.
Okay.
And I've only nailed this down to like kind of a lead singer situation.
Yeah, I've also noticed that only one of those things is actually a body part and the rest are just like abstract quantities. But You know what? Fine.
Oh, yeah. What was it? Liver?
Yep.
Liver of Martin Smith, because he had a good innings.
Whose legs do you want, Mez?
Whose legs do I want?
What does your Frankenstein want?
Whose legs do I want? This is a good question. And I've got to be
I really
careful
appreciate how seriously you're taking this.
I've got to be careful how I put this together. I think this monster is going to be a beautiful thing. Whose legs do I want? Well, now I'm doing It's going to sound, if I say anything female related, it's going to sound too sexual. So I'm not going to be able to do that because obviously that's not right. So whose legs do I want? Whose legs do I want? Who runs around like a mad? Well, maybe we'll just change it to the body of Iggy Pop.
Oh, the whole sort of torso, legs, arms too, or different arms?
I mean, the torso and the legs. How's he alive? And he's still.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, whose arms and hands do you want? This could come in important for playing instruments. So, this is a big one.
Oh yeah, this is a big one. Whose arms do I want? Maybe like Jimi Hendrix's arms. I bet they were good arms.
Yeah, that's a good shout, I reckon.
His hands were good as well, to be fair.
You have them both?
Maybe his hands. I'll have them both. Let's put it in there.
All right.
Iggy Pop's, Jimi Hendrix's arms and hands.
Whose brain do you want?
Leonard Cohen's brain.
And whose face do you want?
Whose face do I want? Jarvis Cocker's.
And then finally, most importantly, whose hair?
Oh. Nick Valenci from The Strokes.
Perfect.
What an image.
Imagine this person would look absolutely horrifying.
Oh, I'd be sick.
Oh, God. Okay. One final song, and I think that's probably all we've got time for, Mez.
Okay, mate. Again, another new one. This is Wildflowers by Duscher.
Fuck it all, motherfucker. I'm going straight to the hot spot. Yep. Fuck all these brown envelopes sliding underneath my door, and fuck these goddamn things in my head, and fuck that guy at the gym that won't start looking at me when I piss.
Lovely stuff. Thank you for another month. We'll be back next month for Mez's Sunday Lunch once more. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Mez.
Oh, no worries, man. It was good to be back.
If you've got sausage and mash and gravy, Yorkshire pudding and roast potatoes, eat your veggies by the bunch, listening to Mez's Sunday Lunch.